If you struggle to get to profitability with trading, if you're not successful with it, things just seem to hit a brick wall, then I want to show you the secret to getting to profitability or some of the tricks. Really, when I go into this method, you'll see that there's really no big secrets behind trading. It's just you might be missing one of the components to trading. And once you figure out those components and the things you need to work on, then a lot of things can pivot and shift. So if you don't know me, I'm Sasha, the options coach. I've been teaching people to trade options probably over the last decade. I've done things from classes to one-on-one. And when I do those things, I really see a lot of people's accounts and I know what they do right and I know what they do wrong because I've seen things happen and where people get into some trouble. So a lot of times what happens is that most people are missing one of these factors or components. So in order for you to be successful in trading, you're going to need three things. You're going to need the method or the strategy, the money management part, and the mindset. Now in there's also some subset things that we can go into more specific details on other videos and trainings. But the point is that most people, they hone in and focus on kind of the method and strategy. Like, how do I actually do this thing? How does covered calls work? How does the wheel strategy work? How does an option work? Can I buy a single option? Can I sell a put? Can I do vertical spreads, iron condors, calendars, diagonals, butterflies, all those kinds of things? We go into the method and strategy. This is what a lot of people focus in on. Now, that's a good starting point. You're going to get, hey, how does a car wash business work and operate? But it doesn't mean you get to actually run and operate this. You don't have the experience. And there's a lot of things behind the scenes that you may need to know. On top of this method and strategy, you also need to know how to manage money. Because if you're operating a car wash business, for example, but you are a terrible money manager and you say, hey, well, I'm just going to buy a bunch of really, really expensive soap, and all of a sudden your profits dive. Or you go ahead and buy another brand new machine and it costs you $85,000. And again, now it takes you years to pay that off. Again, it might not be the wisest decision. So understanding money management is also another critical part. And then the other thing we get into is mindset. A lot of people don't have the emotional intelligence in trading. You know, they can't see themselves, hey, maybe this was not the right decision. They can't go outside and see that awareness factor of, hey, I was trading a little more emotionally. Maybe I was a little heated. Maybe I wanted to revenge trade. You know, they don't think about the portfolio. They might look at the individual trade, but they don't look, how do all those puzzle pieces work together? Well, if I lose this one, well, what's going to happen to that one? And what about 3 weeks later? What about 6 weeks later or 6 months later? How's that all going to fit together? So we're pretty good at looking at things kind of, hey, in the foreseeable week or 2 weeks future, but not everybody's looking at it from a chess puzzle piece of looking at what the next move could be and planning it out. So these are some of the things that most people just don't get and look at and have an issue with. So from a strategy basis, okay, or a method, okay, a lot of people are looking for, hey, how do I execute this strategy and how do I do that? But a lot of people, when we look at strategy here, okay, this part, they don't even focus on evolving the strategy. They say they go from one strategy and then they hop to another strategy. Oh, that strategy doesn't work. Then they go to another strategy. Oh, that doesn't work. Now, what I always teach people and what we work with is we actually evolve the strategies, just like a car wash business. Some car wash businesses fail and others succeed. Why is that? Well, what happens is they usually evolve it to a version 2 or a version 3 of the business or a version 4. And that's what you want to do, right? The iPhone or the Google Pixel phone, you know, they didn't just come out with the latest and greatest phone. Every couple of years, they iterate or advance it, not always a lot, but it's constantly, hopefully aiming to become better. And that's exactly it. That's what you want to do with your strategy or method. Now, I have some specific worksheets on this strategy evolution. If you're interested, send me a note or message on YouTube. I can't really get back to you, but on other social media platforms, I can actually reach out to you and contact you about that. So if you send me a note or write a quick note below, I can actually reach out to you. If you're on YouTube, though, feel free to just go to our website and get some of those free worksheets. Anyways, with this evolution of strategy that we've got, once we evolve that strategy, that all of a sudden can get to a better version of our strategy and go to version 2, version 3. That's what you want to do. That's just one part or puzzle piece of it. When you look at money management, what do people do? They don't think about managing money properly. When they look at, hey, going into different stocks or positions, yes, they might spread out into different positions like, hey, I've got Microsoft. Hey, I've got ExxonMobil. Hey, I've got, let's say CRM or Salesforce. But they've spread it in tickers, but they bought them all in one day. oh my gosh, well, instead of buying them all in one day, why don't you go out and spread them out in terms of buying them across different weeks? So Microsoft, if you're getting 100 shares, you might buy that across 3 different weeks. So week 1, you get, maybe 20 shares. Week number 2, you get another 20 shares. Week number 3, you get the rest of your shares, or week 4, and so on. Spread it across different points in time. That way you spread your price risk. So again, thinking of it this way, same thing with the CRM. You can spread it in different points in time. And that's really the beauty, the power behind it, understanding how to manage money. And what are you going to do if it goes down? What are you going to do if it goes up? When are you going to take profits? All of this has to be taken into account. And then finally, the mindset. See, a lot of people, they look at, okay, this one trade, I'm going to be a day trader. The problem with that is if you focus in too much on a single trade, right, you're not looking at your whole account, your whole wealth, right? So if I look at my paycheck that starts coming in and you have a job, you say, okay, let's say I'm making $5,000 a month kind of thing. Okay, so if you're bringing in this paycheck, well, you're looking at one thing, but what about the investment account that you've got? Okay, part of that is also part of your finances, the investment account, and is it growing? What about the side business your wife has? Okay, that might bring in some revenue or income, or maybe it's losing money. What about some of the expenses that you're also blowing your money on? You might be spending, let's say, $15,000 on Super Bowl tickets. Well, in this case, maybe it's worth the 3 months of income, but maybe it's not. It depends. But all of this takes into account your financial future. So we have to look at our whole portfolio because we might have different positions where covered calls are bringing in some form of income. That may be long-term investments. I might have some other things where they are dividend-based investments. So you have to look at all of these different components. And people join a lot of trading groups out there, but they're just focused on one part or one puzzle piece of that. They don't focus on the whole business structure of your wealth in the investment cycle. They're focused on, hey, that's a cool hot trade. Hey, that's amazing. Get into this stock, get into that stock. And that's what people are missing. That's the issue, is that we're only looking at this one single point or spot and we think we've got it. But the problem is we're missing some of the other components that might bring stability to our finances or in the investment and trading game. So anyways, this is what we want to look at, and you can evolve that further as you know more or understand more with trading. Like, let's say vertical spreads, they could be out of the money, or they could be iron condors, non-directional trading. They could be butterfly spreads, right? So when you start getting into things a little bit more detailed and more advanced, there's a lot of components in different parts of your business that you could have. Now, I've done a lot of classes on all of these topics and subjects, and if you'd like more information, just send me a note or check out our website and then reach out to us on live chat or give us a call and text message. I think that's usually the best way. But in either case, if you want some freebies, just let me know. I've got a ton of content and material specifically on this that's free. Over the last decade, I've made a ton of videos, and I can craft you an exact learning path on some free videos if you're kind of brand new. But if you want a faster approach, we've got some classes that are super in-depth. But anyways, this is usually what happens, that people are missing some of these things in order to get to profitability. Because most people, what are they doing? They're focusing on the method and strategy, but they're not always focusing on the money management part. Or they're focused on maybe, hey, the portfolio, but they're forgetting, hey, how do I optimize that strategy or take it to version 2, version 3, version 4? Or they're forgetting about, how do I look at things in terms of myself? Because you have to manage yourself as well. Like, how do I deal with an emotional trading? How do I deal with overwhelm? Like, hey, there's a lot of information coming at me. How do I deal with those things? So we need all of these components in order to be successful, not just one of these things. So watch out as you move forward and look to evolve. You got to have all 3 and little subsets of each one of these. Again, if you want some worksheets, let me know. Send me a note, drop me a comment down below, or if you're on YouTube, reach out, because I can't really reply on YouTube direct messages like on Facebook or Instagram. But reach out on our website. There's a lot of other good goodies. And I hope to see you maybe in our next training video, maybe in our next class, and hear much more from you about how you're doing your trading and give you a chance to improve and evolve. Anyways, looking forward to speaking with you. I'll talk to you soon.